So, Kyrie Irving has requested a trade. Again, just about an hour ago, Shams reported that Kyrie Irving is looking to get out of Brooklyn. This trade request comes after Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets were unable to come to sides on a contract extension, and just like what happened in the offseason, we're doing it all over again. Let's dive deeper into this Kyrie Irving trade request, why it's happening, what's going to come out of it, and if the Nets should even move on from him or not. So obviously, Kyrie Irving is hurt over the fact that the Nets did not offer him an extension that he wanted. From the Nets standpoint, I guess you could say it kind of makes sense because over the last year, Kyrie Irving has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. You can talk about all the shenanigans that he's done over his time in Brooklyn, and his latest one was the worst of them all. Of course, we can refer to the incident that he had at the beginning of the season when he discussed a certain movie that he probably should not have discussed, which led to a suspension. And Kyrie Irving, we know his abilities on the basketball court. I mean, he's an all-NBA caliber player. We know what Kyrie Irving does. It's off the courts that really weigh people's opinions on him. And that's the case for the Brooklyn Nets organization. I mean, I feel like they're just tired of the shenanigans that he's pulling and they just don't want to commit to him long term. But for Kyrie, I just don't think he likes the way he's being treated in his organization. He doesn't like the way he's valued. And the two sides not coming together on a contract extension was just the cherry on top, I believe. For Kyrie Irving's sake, how many teams out there have cap space this summer and teams that you'd even want to go to? So from the Nets standpoint, you could just let this ride out into the summer, but do you really want that? Do you want to deal with this drama and let this leak into the locker room for the entire season? And that's where Kyrie Irving's leverage comes in because, I mean, the Nets have been dealing with this for 2.5, 3 years. Maybe they're just tired of it and just want to move on from him. But moving on from Kyrie, I believe, means moving on from Kevin Durant as well. And at that point, the Nets would be restarting again. They'll be rebuilding again. But this time, you know, it won't be as bad. You're going to get a lot of assets for KD if you look to move on from him. I feel like you can get a good enough asset from Kyrie Irving if you look to move on from him. And then that means gutting the rest of the roster, trading away other veterans like Seth Curry and Joe Harrison, Royce O'Neal, Patty Mills, and just building a foundation that doesn't give you a headache that you can move forward with. So that's the Kyrie Irving drama. Both sides basically hate each other and both sides just want to get rid of each other. So what teams out there can make a realistic trade to go out and get Kyrie Irving? Now for me, I see 4 teams that really have a shot at getting Kyrie Irving. And those teams are the Los Angeles Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Miami Heat, and maybe the Dallas Mavericks. Starting with the Mavericks, I mean, they don't have to make a move for Kyrie Irving, but at the same time, they kind of do. You haven't really given Luka much over his career and you want to keep him happy. And I think adding a 27 point per game scorer who's an all-star would be really good for that team. They have cap casualties like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Spencer Dinwiddie who they can trade, along with Josh Green and Jaden Hardy as young pieces and some picks. But does that really move the needle for the Brooklyn Nets? I'm not too sure. From the Clippers standpoint, they're kind of in the same boat as well. You just want to improve your chances at winning an NBA championship. And Kyrie Irving alongside PJ and Kawhi Leonard definitely does that. They have Robert Covington and Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris, some younger guys like Terrence Mann, I guess, and Brandon Boston. But again, those young pieces aren't really intriguing. For the Lakers side, the package is the same as it's always been. It's Westbrook and 2 firsts. But if you're the Nets, do you even want to do that? And at that point, I mean, you might as well just let him walk in free agency. And that's why I believe the Miami Heat have the best chance of getting Kyrie Irving because you can put together a package revolving around Kyle Lowry's contract. You add Tyler Hero to that. Probably Nikola Jovic, their first-round pick in this past year's NBA draft, and their first-round pick this year. And I think you honestly got a deal. Because if you look at it from both teams, I mean, the Miami Heat have to make an aggressive move because they just haven't done that over the last couple of years since the Jimmy Butler sign and trade. Jimmy's getting old, man. I mean, he doesn't have much time left, and you pair him with Kyrie Irving and Bam Adebayo. That big three is scary, man. They still have Victor Oladipo, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin. That's definitely a contending team, man. And with Eric Spoelstra and that structure that team has, I feel like they can mediate Kyrie Irving's or temperament. I don't even know what you'd call it. I just like Kyrie Irving's fit with the Heat, man. I think it makes sense. And for the Nets standpoint, you get a young asset back in Tyler Hero, who at the age of 23, he's a 20 point per game scorer. Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons, I mean, that's not much, but I mean, it's something. That core at least helps you stay semi-competitive this year, and then in the offseason, you can make the decision on if you want to move on from KD or not. Oh, I mean, if you trade Kyrie, I think KD's gone as well. But all in all, will it happen? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Nets. I don't know what's going on with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving could honestly wake up tomorrow and feel differently and say he wants to stay. Who knows? But for right now, if I had to guess, the trade deadline is next week, so I think we're going to be hearing a lot more. And if Kyrie Irving is moved, I think it's to the Miami Heat. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving always finds a way to get his. I mean, we saw it in Cleveland. He threatened to have season-ending surgery if he was not traded. So, yeah, I think Kyrie's time as a Brooklyn Net is slowly but surely coming to an end. And we just got to see what's next for him.